Cool.
Yeah, building in this kind of bear market is incredibly challenging. And it's not challenging because the engineering is any different. It's not challenging because the product is any different. It's mostly emotionally challenging. Like choosing to start something in crypto right now to a lot of people will seem like a weird decision, right? You can sort of see the social sentiment being like, oh, AI is the next big thing, or whatever. Pick your topic, right? Um, and this idea that pure software is maybe less exciting than it used to be. And it's not less exciting because we haven't done as much from it. It's less exciting because this is actually like the time it gets practical and real. It's very easy to be excited about a hypothetical potential. And the minute that crypto transitioned from lofty ideology around the potential for software to change the world to the actual process of building that software that will change the world, building that hardware that will change the world, it gets much harder, right? And I think you see this a little bit with like the grifter developers, right? They're all gone, and that's great. And the sort of moment where you could just put out, a tweet and you could raise $20 million on a pre-seed round is gone. And that's actually a good thing. And it's not a good thing necessarily for you as an individual, right? Like everyone would love to snap their fingers and raise $20 million for a half baked idea. But what building in this kind of market does is it drives singular focus. It means that you have to be focused on building something people want to use. Those people could be developers, they could be users, they could be, whatever it is. But like the thing has to be useful. There has to be this like radical practicality that comes from a bear market. And for me, that's why I think these are some of the most exciting times for builders and for investors, is because you can't afford to be sloppy. And even if your project, like if you've got a hackathon project, right? Like the majority of hackathon projects don't get turned into full companies. They're learning experiences for a few months that people do, but those skill sets that they take and build a new company with it maybe 6 or 8 months later. Or they go and they say, all right, now I know to build this thing. I'm going to go get a job at a place I wouldn't have been able to before. And from my perspective, like this is like the point of these things. Too much of the kind of world of hackathons, I think, can be really outcome oriented. It can sort of be like, oh, I went through a like Y Combinator, and then my company got funded, and then it got acquired by Google. And it's like, in some ways, like that's the wrong reason to be in this business and in this industry. Like if you want to get super rich, from doing not a lot of work. Like there's basically nothing you can do in life to do that. But crypto is not necessarily and the best place to do that. Founding a company is very much not the right place to do that. Like this is a calling for folks who feel like everything else is boring. Everything else is like too slow, too uninteresting. It doesn't have the drive behind it. It doesn't have the motivation. Like you don't wake up every day and like if you wake up every day and you go to work and you're sort of like, I'm the one who's trying harder here than everyone else, that's a great reason to quit your job and start a company, um, which is a scary thing to do. It's a really scary thing to do, but like that is a great reason to be doing this. So for me, like watching projects like right now, like it's one of the best times to be an investor because all the valuations are lower. Uh, it's easier to see the signal through the noise. And what that means is when you find someone who really believes in your product, like they're going to be cutting you a check in a way that they weren't before, right? You're going to get investors who are more dedicated. It's a really good time, I think, for everyone in this space. And the emergent field of decentralized physical infrastructure networks is one of the biggest and most credible cases for crypto, I think. Um, this was not something that was obvious when Helium launched, right? I ran a node back in like, I think it was like summer of 2019. I bought it. It arrived in like November of 2019, I want to say. I said that as like number 700 on the network or something like that. And instantly that was still like that was weird at the time. People were like, why would you put this thing in your house? Like it looks ugly. And yeah, they look a little ugly. But like the thing that like people have come around to now is when I'm talking about projects that are like, why crypto? Payments is a boring answer because no user ever pays credit card fees. Only the merchants get why that's compelling. DeFi, it's like, well, we live in the United States. Like DIC just steps in every time a bank fails. Like there's no custody risk really when you're talking about like your life savings. You talk to people in Ukraine or Venezuela, you get a very different answer on that exact same question, right? These are places where you have to file paperwork 7 days ahead if you want to take $50,000 out of the bank. and it'll get declined half the time. But that's not like a common story in the United States about why crypto matters. You talk to people about decentralized physical infrastructure networks, they're like, man, I hate my cell phone company. I hate my ISP. These companies are terrible. They charge me huge amounts of money. The fees change all the time. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I just wish I could run my own cell phone network. And lo and behold, now you can. But it's not you running your own cell phone network. It's everyone all around the world running one cell phone network that you can access wherever you go. And stuff like Hive Mapper, right? The idea that we're going to take Google Street View and we're going to democratize it. We're going to have shared ownership of it. We're going to rebuild this thing on a blockchain. This is like the contributors to Waze got nothing when Waze got acquired. The drivers who drove for Uber for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years before the IPO, they got nothing when it IPO'd. They maybe got like a $600 like paycheck bonus, right? And it was like, cool, that's cute. But if they had been earning tokens in Uber in the early days, that would have been a down payment for a house. That would have been like a generational wealth opportunity for a huge number of lower middle class people who were driving Ubers, right? And instead, that's not the way we build this stuff. These really are platform technologies, right? Everything that you think of in the world that's a platform company really should be a decentralized company, right? I don't think Salesforce should be a blockchain company, right? Salesforce provides like very direct services to your business with a bunch of proprietary data. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they should all be blockchain services, right? I should be able to go in and build my own filtering algorithm. I should be able to plug into the Tinder database and apply my own sorting and searching algorithms to like find potential matches, right? All of this stuff. Anytime you hear platform company, that's generally something that is like a really good use case for crypto. And DePIN is probably the start of this, but it's certainly not the end of it. So I think that like this is an incredibly exciting time to be building. And if it feels hard, that's because it is hard. And it should be hard. If it feels too easy, either you're that 1% of people who has got a genius product market fit idea, but you're probably not. It's probably hard because you haven't found product market fit. It's probably hard because your idea is not refined yet. Like use that to make your idea better. I mean, the story I kind of love is like Helium was like a 8-year-old failing mesh network radio company before someone decided like, hey, let's try bolting a blockchain onto this thing. And like we're off to the races. And Helium is a totally different thing because they fixed the economic incentive model that made a peer-to-peer mesh wireless system not work. Suddenly you have token, everyone's economic self-interest comes to the forefront. You build great things. So that's kind of what I'm really excited about for these type of hackathons and to see coming out over the next few weeks.